Hey guys, Modern Kid here. I guess you can kind of call this a you know lunch break or whatever. Uh, but I am working. Technically, I'm on duty guarding a uh, a location right now. I'm not gonna let it know what it is, but I am guarding it. But no one's here. It's just me. But uh, this comes as some really harsh news, and so Scott Hall, for most wrestling fans, knew him as Reza Ramon, a character that he came up with, basically a combination of Tony Montana from Scarface. He passed away. Um, he and I heard about this. The first thing I heard was that he was going through surgery, but then he suffered like a heart attack or so, and I'm like, oh God, you know. And today, when I got up this afternoon, um, I heard about it again. I woke up to the bad news that his family had taken him off life support, and then hearing from other close friends like Sean Waltman, Kevin Nash, basically saying, yeah, like he's gone, and I'm like, oh. It's never easy for someone like me who grew up, with Scott Hall. I grew up with Scott Hall. I remember when he first debuted that character of Reza Ramon. I remember the vignettes and the great just vignettes of him before he even got in the ring. Back in the day when WWE took their time to build a character up, they built the character up so you can get excited for it. They don't do that no more, and that's kind of stupid. They need to go back to that, but that's here nor there right now. This is about Scott Hall. Yeah, he passed away, man. It's like he was. You could say, oh, but he was so young. But the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, Mr. Hall put himself through a lot, his body through a lot of abuse, substance abuse, alcohol. That's why it is very important. Don't ever think that, that drinking heavily and all that stuff, that's not going to have some consequences when you get older. It's going to have consequences. Drug abuse. We just heard William Regal on AEW just talk about like how he feels he doesn't have a lot of time left, because he kind of was in that same category: substance abuse, alcoholism, things like that. Yeah, he gets clean, but still. And it's sad to see that. You got to probably believe that, yeah, that played a factor into him dying. But like I said, I grew up with Scott and Mr. Hall. I never got to meet him. I really wish I'd have met him at a convention or something. I got friends that have, and said he was just he literally was a cool dude. He was just really cool. He wasn't acting cool. He was just cool. But I had the pleasure of watching him wrestle. I have seen him wrestle. And I'm not just talking on TV. I'm talking about live. Back in the day, my pops used to take me to a lot of Madison Square Garden, WWE or WWF at the time, live events. And I remember him there. I forget who he was wrestling, but back in the day, early 90s, before he jumped over to WCW, I used to watch him in those Madison Square Garden live events. And I'm not talking about the curtain call, because I didn't see that, but I'm just talking in general. And I always loved it. That music, when he came out, it was just cool. Watching him, grow as a character in WWF or WWE at the time. He wins the Intercontinental title, and you think he's, and at that time, at that point in time, that was that was the belt you wanted, because when you won that Intercontinental title back in the day, those were the matches that were having the best matches. Those were the matches. That was the championship that was having those best matches and getting those guys ready for that world title. You look at all the greats that held that belt. They held that belt first. Your Bret Hart, your Stone Cold, The Rock, Shawn Michaels. I wish Mr. Perfect would have got there. Ultimate Warrior. These guys held that title first and got ready. Unfortunately, it didn't happen for Mr. Hall, and he went over, and him and Kevin Nash went over to, WCW, and that whole situation was great at the time when the internet was, you never was going to be spoiled by the internet, and you would, when you saw a wrestler that you knew that was on another channel, on another promotion, and you calling your buddy like with the rotary phone, like, yo, dude, do you see who's on WCW? That was me back in the day. And to see that happen, and to see how Scott Hall's career went, and then you start to see the decline of him from the substance abuse and things like that, that broke my heart, But thank God for people like DDP. Diamond Dallas Page, took guys like Scott and guys like, look at Jake the Snake Roberts, and he is a saint for helping them find a place and find stability in their life, in their health. Thank God for DDP. He did what he could, and it worked. And to see Scott go into the Hall of Fame and cut that speech that he did, and it was beautiful, and to see this now, it's just like, it hurts, because, as a fan, you can say, oh, but you never knew the guy. Like, how can you get upset about that? How can you feel like it may bring you to tears? I have seen many celebrity deaths, and I've talked about this, guys, and not all of them hurt. I feel condolences for their family and things like that. But there have been some that really hurt. They hurt, and it was just like, it hurt. Like, for example, I've said it before, Robin Williams' death, that hurt. That legitimately hurt me. Never met the man, but it hurt because of how good he was, and there was so much more I feel like the man could have done. And I felt for his kids, and I felt for everybody who loved him. Stan Lee was another one. I met Stan Lee, so I know that hurt. That legitimately hurt me, to sit there and say, I shook that man's hand, I thanked that man, and to see that now. With Scott Hall, it's the same thing. It's like, I never got to meet him, but it hurts because he made such good strides in changing his life, and sometimes life can throw you curveballs, and it's just a matter of either you're gonna hit it out of the park, you're going to either evade those obstacles that life is going to throw you and come out stronger, or you're going to tap out and lose the fight. And it's sad. It's really sad. But I loved Scott Hall. My condolences to his kids, his family, everybody who loved them, from his best friends like Triple H, and Kevin Nash and Sean Waltman, X-Pac, and of course Shawn Michaels. That was the clique. Those are the closest friends he had, and my condolences go out to them. It's not easy losing a good friend, somebody you call a good friend. It's not easy. I know that feeling. I have lost good friends, but the way I look at it, yes, it is another wrestler that is going up to wrestling heaven, and I can see him reaching the gates and people were welcoming, and I could see Macho, yeah, Scott, welcome in, yeah, something like that. And, you know, Mr. Kurt Hennig, it's a perfect place. Or it's just, you know, I'm trying to think positive on just his ascending. I just don't wish it happened. But more importantly, Scott Hall will never be forgotten because we as fans, his family, his friends, his legacy will be immortalized because of people like us. We're going to keep his memory alive. And no matter what we see, a compilation of some of the greatest intercontinental champions alive, or some of the greatest holy WTF moments, you know, some of the great characters of wrestling, he's always going to be on that list because of who he was. So my condolences to the Hall family, to us wrestling fans. We keep our chins up. Keep your chin up. Give him a prayer. Show him some love. But more importantly, just keep him alive, because legends never die. I'll see you guys next time.